Hello, namaskar. This is CVR English and it's time to roll the prime time once again with me, Anukriti Sharma. Ladies and gentlemen, today's special show focuses on the one thing, the US election, the US presidential election, which is just round the corner. And tonight's special focus is on just that. Viewers, exactly 3 days to go for the US election. And it's turning out to be one of the closest in a while and also one of the most violent elections in the last 50 years, with the ballot boxes also being set up on fire. We'll look at what the latest polls say and also why Elon Musk is turning into such a big deal in this election. He's already pitching Trump's economic policy with a $2 trillion budget cut. That's what he's proposed. We'll also tell you about a new controversy that the Democrats hope to capitalize on now during this last stretch. Yes, we are 3 days away from the election day in the United States. As they say, it is the home stretch. The last chance, make your case. The last chance to make your case. Kamala Harris recently spoke in Washington and Donald Trump headed to Pennsylvania. But tonight, my dear viewers, the focus is not on the candidates. It is on the ballots. The ballot boxes are being set on fire in the United States. 3 incidents have been reported, 2 of them in Portland, 1 in Vancouver. Not the Canadian city, there is a Vancouver in Washington as well. Viewers, all these cases had the same modus operandi. Someone stuck incendiary devices in the ballot boxes. They began smoking up and eventually each and every ballot box caught fire. And the damages? Well, in Portland, not much. Only 3 ballots were lost, but in Vancouver, hundreds were destroyed. Take a look at this report.
We don't know the motive behind these acts. It sounds like a series of 3 at this point. But we do know that acts like this are targeted and they're intentional. And we're concerned about that intentional act trying to affect the election process. We don't know the motive behind these acts. It sounds like a series of 3 at this point. But we do know that acts like this are targeted and they're intentional. And we're concerned about that intentional act trying to affect the election process.
Local police are obviously on the case, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, or the FBI, have also joined in now. So it's all a hands-on investigation. But do they have any suspects? Well, the officials have released some pictures of a car. Some pictures of a car have been released. They say that it's a Volvo sedan, and apparently this car was used to drop off the devices in Portland. Well, if that is true, if so, then the culprit should be caught soon. And the police also believe that the cases are all linked to each other, meaning that the same suspects could be behind all the attacks, the ones in Portland as well as the ones in Vancouver. Well, some background information for our viewers here. Voting in the US does not start on November 5th. It actually ends on November 5th. And millions of Americans have already cast their vote. You may ask me how? Well, they are using what are known as the early voting methods. You can drop your ballot off in any of the dedicated boxes. You can also mail them via postal services. And what's the advantage of doing this? You can avoid all the never-ending queues on the main voting day. Nearly 240 million Americans are eligible to vote this year, and almost 43 million have voted early. The Democrats hold a narrow edge in the early voting, but the Republicans are soon catching up. Mostly thanks to Donald Trump. Well, in the past, he had opposed early voting, if you remember. He blamed early voting for his loss in 2020. But this time around, Trump seems to have made a U-turn. He has realized that a lot of voters prefer the comfort of voting early. So he's supporting it now. He's absolutely going ahead and supporting it. Which brings us back to the ballot boxes, viewers. You'll find them across all the US cities now, not just for the presidential race, but also for the congressional races. Basically, the seats in the US Senate and the House of the Representatives. That's what I'm talking about. Now, Portland and Washington are Democrat strongholds, but Vancouver is different. Their congressional race is a toss-up. Only 1% differentiated the winner and the loser the last time, viewers. So naturally, this time there is a big concern. What are the officials doing to address this problem? First, they're increasing the security at the ballot boxes now. Security has been heightened. And second, they're verifying those destroyed ballots. Those voters will now get a second chance to vote again. As for the suspects, well, it's hard to say. Last week, a similar incident was reported in Arizona. A post box filled with 20 ballots was set on fire. It wasn't a political act though, it was simply vandalism, social vandalism, because the man was homeless and he wanted to seek shelter in a jail. I know it sounds funny, it can only probably happen in America, but you have to see whether these incidents are similar or whether there is some deeper conspiracy this time. But let's look at the broader picture here. 3 days to go, I repeat myself, that's right, 3 days to go, and who is actually leading the race as I'm talking to all of you? Kamala Harris is polling at 48.1%, Donald Trump is at 46.6%, so Harris leads by 1.5 percentage points, viewers, which is within the margin of human error. But that's not her biggest worry right now, or I would say that should not be her biggest worry right now. You see, viewers, after Biden dropped out, Harris enjoyed a surge of support, and by August, she led Trump by 4 percentage points. That lead has now narrowed to 1.5%. So this downward trajectory should now be worrying Harris. Plus, the national numbers do not matter very often in the US. You can get more votes, but you can still lose the election because the US has what they call an electoral college. Each state has got a certain number of votes. If you win the state, then you get all of their votes. In total, there are 538 electoral college votes. And whoever crosses the 270 mark, whoever is able to cross the 270th mark, wins the election. Now, most states are always fixed in their loyalties. For example, California, it's always Democratic. Texas, on the other hand, is always Republican. So the race then reboils down to some of the swing states, and to be precise, 7 of them. They keep switching hands. Look at the numbers there. There in the swing states, Wisconsin is all tied up. There's a tie. In Nevada, Trump leads by 0.2%. In North Carolina, he leads by 1.3%. In Pennsylvania, he's leading by 0.3%. And in Michigan, Kamala Harris is leading by 0.5%. In Georgia, Trump leads by 1.5%. And in Arizona, Trump again leads by 1.9%. This is the story from America's 7 swing states. What does it tell you? A. It's been a great comeback by Donald Trump. You see, he was trailing behind in a lot of these states. But not only he's closed the gap, he's now leading narrowly as well. And B. It is still too close to call. Each of these states, each of these leads rather, is within the margin of human error. So the swing states right now are really swinging hard. Trump is certainly carrying some momentum into the final stretch of this US presidential campaign. Let's see how Kamala Harris responds to this. Watch this.
Modi, you're fantastic. Fantastic man.
Man, I am proud to call my true friend, Prime Minister Modi.
Modi, you're fantastic. Fantastic man.
They're moving. I want to protect the women of our country. I want to protect the women. Sir, please don't say that. Why? They said we think it's very inappropriate for you to say. So why? I'm president. I want to protect the women of our country. They said. They said, sir, I just think it's inappropriate for you to say, pay these guys a lot of money. Can you believe it? I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them.
I will comment on the former President Donald Trump's remark about women and whether they like it or not. It actually is, I think, very offensive.
Meanwhile, Elon Musk, the world-famous multi-billionaire, is preparing for a Trump victory. And he backs this Republican candidate. And now he's also working on policy prescriptions for the next US president in the hope and belief that it is indeed going to be none other than Donald Trump. Now, Musk, as you know, is a billionaire entrepreneur, the man who chases big ideas like electric cars and space rockets. Well, he's got a brand new one now. A brand new idea. Elon Musk wants to tackle America's debt problem, and he says that he has a plan. He can reduce America's expenses by $2 trillion. Musk has called America's debt, quote unquote, a ticking time bomb. And he actually has a point. As of today, the US owes over $35 trillion. Viewers, it's an unsustainable debt. And according to Elon Musk, the US pays $1 trillion as interest alone. $1 trillion every year as interest. That's more than America's entire defense budget, by the way. And Musk says that taxpayer money is now being wasted, and he can help reduce this wastage by as much as $2 trillion. Now, a quick reminder for all our viewers once again, which I like to do. Elon Musk is not on the ballot in this election. He is not on the ticket. He is not even contesting for a seat in the US Congress. Yet, he's beginning to sound more and more like a candidate in this election. Can't you feel that? If you watch his videos, can't you feel that? He's been actively campaigning for Donald Trump, not just as a star campaigner. Well, as you know, that Kamala Harris has got a long line of stars lined up for her, who are campaigning for her. Right from K-pop to the major pop stars of the UK and America. She's got actors, actresses, pop singers, K-pop stars lined up campaigning for her, including the latest addition to the list, which is the famous rap star Eminem. Kamala Harris has got star campaigners lining up, queuing up to campaign for her. But Donald Trump has got Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is not supporting Donald Trump as a star campaigner. He is supporting Donald Trump as a major donor. This is where things get serious. Musk has already poured in millions into Trump's campaign, more than $100 million to be precise. That's a whopping amount. He's been giving out $1 million checks to voters. Trump has even promised him a role in his future administration once he gets to the White House, hypothetically. Clearly, Trump is entertained and impressed by both SpaceX and Elon Musk. Perhaps he's hoping that Musk can use some of that complicated advanced rocket science to make America's debt suddenly disappear. And Elon Musk seems to be eager too, eager to take on this challenge. Earlier he had proposed something known as a Government Efficiency Commission. It is a body to rein in on the government's expenditures and the way the government spends the money. A Government Efficiency Commission. Well, this is just a proposal at this stage and no such commission actually exists at the moment. But Elon Musk is acting like he's already in charge of it. So viewers, what is his big plan? How will he contain America's debt? Well, that he's yet to share with us. The specifics are missing from his public pitches. Well, he keeps talking about it a lot at all the Trump's rallies, and he's also amplifying his claims on X, the social media platform that he acquired. In fact, most of his recent posts focus almost entirely on the election, with Republican content and conspiracy theories. X has now probably become Elon Musk's major mouthpiece for the election. Since he acquired it, and he's using this platform to rally more and more support for Trump. Basically, Elon Musk is now a major booster for Donald Trump. He's betting big and he's betting hard. And he's betting hard on the former President Donald Trump. Beyond social media amplification and personal donations, Musk is also building grassroots support for Trump. He has created a fund called the America PAC. PAC. It stands for Political Action Committee. These are commonly used to funnel the money into the election campaigns. And Musk has already gathered lawyers, the best PR professionals, and political pundits. His team is working closely with Trump campaign, and they're trying to mobilize the voters as much as they can by canvassing the battleground states, the swing states I'm talking about. The goal is to bring at least 800,000 Americans to vote for Trump in these swing states. So Musk is going all out, or as I would like to put it, Musk is going all in, backing his favorite Donald Trump. And this is not just about his political preferences, viewers. This is not just about what he believes in politically, what he believes in socio-politically or eco-politically. This is not just about Elon Musk's political preferences and his viewpoints. This is beyond that. This is also a big business decision for him. This election is a business investment for Elon Musk. Let's not forget, even for a moment, that all said and done, keeping all his activities aside, he's first and foremost a businessman. He wants an ally in the White House, and Donald Trump fixed that bill. Trump's policies aligned with Musk's priorities. Imagine that. What would it lead to? Fewer checks and regulations, lesser governmental interference, and most importantly, tariffs on Chinese companies. This is what it means. Elon Musk finds the Democrats rather weak on this front. Throughout Biden's tenure, Musk has had multiple spats with the president. And in the recent days, in fact, Biden and the Democrats have been constantly slamming Musk. Biden called Elon Musk, quote unquote, an illegal worker. Now, there is a background story to that, viewers. Musk was born, after all, in South Africa. In the 1990s, he came to the US on a student visa, but he ended up dropping out of this course. Reports say that he was working illegally in the United States. That's what the reports say. We don't. Later on, he transitioned to a work visa and finally became a citizen of the US almost a decade later. Now, Musk has obviously categorically denied all these allegations against him. He says, and I quote, "The Democrats are just getting desperate. They are saying anything and everything as they're about to lose the election." Unquote. That's what he says. And this battle is only going to heat up as we inch closer to the election day, which happens to be November 5th, viewers. The Democrats may absolutely hate Elon Musk, but they cannot afford to ignore him at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be very clear about one thing. In an election as close as this one, neck to neck, he could prove to be that difference between victory and defeat. Watch this. Shifting gears now to a slightly humorous note, it's weird we are even talking about sending the teachers to the Gulag. I hope you know what the Gulag is. The Gulag, it's been recognized as a major instrument of political repression, especially in the Soviet Union. So coming back to the context here, which is the US presidential campaign leading up to the elections on November 5th. Remember the date, viewers, mark it on your calendars. We don't need to worry anymore about sending teachers to the Gulag. The Gulag, because Trump has got more popular policies, like his proposal to end taxes on tips, which is so popular, in fact, that even Kamala Harris now says that she actively supports it. And Trump is not happy about that. One may wonder why. Look, we do understand. To be fair, Kamala did copy Trump's no tax on tips idea, which would make it for the first time in history that a woman got credit for repeating a man's idea. Yes, we did it once again, girls. We copied a man's idea. And she did not stop there. Kamala did not stop there. Kamala also completely ripped off his idea to lead in the polls by 3 points against a rapidly deteriorating candidate. That was his thing. That was his thing. Unquote. She gave him the due credit for that idea. Just watch this.
Politics, she says, she comes out with tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and saying there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and saying there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and saying there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech.
Amidst all this going on, the Indian Americans as well as the Indians back home in the country, now they have a lot of opinions to share on who they'd like to see making it to the White House. The Indian Americans who are already in the voting process have voiced their thoughts out loud on social media, including Instagram and YouTube, and back home here in India. People have emerged as sharply opinionated as well. Nate Friedman, who happens to be a famous YouTube content creator and someone who creates mostly political commentary videos, has been asking the Indo-Americans recently in the US who they are voting for. Let's take a look at what the Indo-Americans have to say about this.
I have a degree in CPA, so it's not that people we are hardworking people, and we really come here with expectations of a good life, but to also contribute to this country. Like, we respect this country, we love this country, and the point is, what I'm trying to make here is most of the people here are the same. They all are hardworking Indians, are hardworking Americans and Indians, and they all love this country. And we would not like to see this country going down the drain. We do see how things are, and people are not stupid. People can see the good versus bad, the right versus wrong. So yeah, I mean, there are many problems that were not existing when Trump was here, and we see those problems now right here.
Yeah. Tell me, what do you do with those 3 degrees, man? What do you do?
I am actually a tax consultant, and I basically work in mergers and acquisitions.
So you're a tax guy. So tell me, what is the difference in policies? Have you looked at the difference in policies between Harris and Trump's tax policies? Can you share what you found?
I have. So basically, what I can say about Trump did with the Tax and Jobs Act, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act back then, the main angle, the main policy was to increase, to bring all those businesses back to America, to reduce the tax rates, not to give tax cuts to, and that's what I believe, not to give these tax cuts to big corporates, but when you have tax cuts, if you see most of these big countries, most of the UK or Singapore or any developed country, name any developed country, even Hong Kong, all of them have a certain level of tax for corporates which is lower than what individual pays, and that's around the globe. So it's not that this was done to give any tax cuts to corporates. It was done to...
Viewers, that brings us to the close of this editorial. Remember, the US polls, the US election are just round the corner, and going by the pattern of the past of the US elections, nobody ever gets the privilege to predict anything, because anything could happen and anyone could turn up as the winner. The differentiator, you ask? Well, there are many for now, and a few I have spoken about already on today's show. So which differentiator would eventually get to differentiate? Even that, viewers, could turn into a matter of heated debate. The inevitable question arises though, will the US get Trump back into the White House, or is it high time for a woman, for Kamala Harris, to make her way into it? Well, I, Anukriti Sharma, shall catch up with all of you once again tomorrow at sharp 9 p.m. Till then, namaskar, Jai Hind, and keep watching CVR English.